Subscribe to my channel for more life-changing health insights. You know what breaks my heart? Walking through hospital corridors and seeing elderly patients who never knew they had choices. I'm talking about people in their 80s and 90s who spent their last years suffering through treatments that didn't align with what they actually wanted for their lives. And the worst part? Their doctors waited until it was almost too late to have the conversation. Let me tell you about Margaret. She was 87 years old when I met her in the oncology ward. Sharp as a tack, witty as anyone half her age. But there she was, hooked up to her 4th round of chemotherapy. Her body was frail, the side effects were devastating, and when I asked her what she wanted most in the world, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said she just wanted to spend time in her garden with her grandchildren. But nobody had asked her that question until 3 months into aggressive treatment. This is the conversation doctors talk about too late. And today, I'm going to share with you what every person over 80 needs to know, what questions you need to ask, and how to take control of your medical decisions before it's too late. At 87, you've lived through world wars, technological revolutions, and countless personal triumphs and losses. You've earned the right to make informed decisions about your own body and your own life. But here's what's happening in doctors' offices across the country. Physicians are so focused on treating the disease that they forget to ask about treating the person. The medical system is designed around intervention. It's built on the premise that more treatment is always better, that fighting is always the answer, that giving up is failure. But when you're 87, the equation changes. Quality of life isn't just important, it's everything. And yet, this is the conversation that happens in whispers, in final weeks, when options have disappeared.
Let me break down what doctors should be discussing with you from the moment you receive any serious diagnosis, especially at 87. First, let's talk about goals of care. This sounds clinical, but it's actually the most personal conversation you can have. What matters to you? Is it longevity at any cost? Is it maintaining your independence? Is it being mentally sharp even if your body fails? Is it being surrounded by family? Is it dying at home rather than in a hospital? There's no wrong answer here, but there is a wrong approach, and that's not asking the question at all. When doctors present treatment options, they often focus on survival rates and clinical outcomes. They'll say, this treatment gives you a 30% chance of 5 more years. But they won't always tell you that those 5 years might be spent managing side effects, in and out of hospitals, unable to do the things that make life worth living for you. At 87, you need to know not just how long a treatment might give you, but what kind of life you'll have during that time. Here's what I wish every doctor would explain clearly. Aggressive treatment isn't always the brave choice, and comfort care isn't giving up. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no to treatment that will diminish your remaining time rather than enhance it. Let's talk about the specific things that change when you're 87. Your body doesn't recover from interventions the way it did at 50 or even 70. Surgery carries higher risks. Anesthesia can cause cognitive decline that you might never fully recover from. Chemotherapy can devastate a body that's already dealing with the natural decline of aging. Radiation can leave you bedridden when you could have been mobile. None of this means you shouldn't pursue treatment. It means you need complete information to make an informed choice. You need to know that the clinical trial showing great results for a particular cancer treatment had an average patient age of 62, and nobody knows exactly how an 87-year-old body will respond. You need to know that the surgery being recommended has a recovery time of 6 months, and that's for younger patients, so for you it might mean never fully recovering at all. Here's what makes me angry about the current system. Doctors are trained to offer treatment, They're not always trained to help you understand when declining treatment is a valid, thoughtful, compassionate choice. They're terrified of being seen as giving up on you, so they keep offering interventions even when deep down they know those interventions might cause more suffering than the disease itself. I've seen 87-year-olds with slow-growing prostate cancer undergo radical surgery that left them incontinent and in pain, when watchful waiting would have allowed them to live out their natural lives in comfort. I've seen women with early-stage breast cancer undergo mastectomies and reconstruction that took a year to recover from, when less invasive options existed. I've seen people with heart disease undergo open-heart surgery at 89 years old, surviving the operation, but never regaining their independence, never leaving the nursing home, when medical management might have given them more quality time at home. Now let's talk about advance directives, because this is where things get really important. At 87, you need to have your wishes documented clearly and legally. I'm talking about a living will, a healthcare power of attorney, and ideally a POLST form, which stands for Physician Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment. These documents spell out exactly what you want, if you can't speak for yourself. Do you want CPR if your heart stops? Do you know that CPR success rates for people over 85 are less than 5%, and that survivors often have broken ribs, brain damage from oxygen deprivation, and end up on life support? This doesn't mean you should refuse CPR, but it means you should know what you're agreeing to. Do you want a feeding tube if you can't eat? Do you want a ventilator if you can't breathe on your own? Do you want dialysis if your kidneys fail? These aren't hypothetical questions when you're 87. These are real scenarios that could happen tomorrow. And if you haven't made your wishes clear, someone else will make these decisions for you, probably in a moment of crisis, possibly choosing interventions you would never have wanted. Here's the conversation I believe every doctor should have with every patient over 85, and especially at 87. What does a good day look like for you? What makes your life meaningful? What are you willing to endure to possibly extend your life? What are you not willing to endure? Who do you trust to speak for you if you can't speak for yourself? What's more important to you, length of life or quality of life? These questions should be asked repeatedly because your answers might change. What you want at 87 and healthy might differ from what you want at 87 with a new diagnosis, and that's okay. The point is to keep the conversation going. Let me tell you about Robert. He was 88 when he was diagnosed with aggressive leukemia. His oncologist immediately recommended intensive chemotherapy. But Robert's primary care doctor, who had known him for 20 years, sat down with him and asked what mattered most. Robert said he wanted to walk his granddaughter down the aisle at her wedding in 3 months. The chemotherapy would have hospitalized him for most of those 3 months, with no guarantee of success. Robert chose supportive care, made it to that wedding, danced with his granddaughter, and died peacefully at home 2 weeks later, surrounded by family. He got what he wanted, but only because someone asked the question. Now, I want to talk about palliative care because there's massive confusion about what this means. Palliative care is not the same as hospice. Palliative care is specialized medical care focused on relief from symptoms and stress of serious illness. You can receive palliative care at any stage of illness, alongside curative treatment. It's an extra layer of support, helping manage pain, nausea, fatigue, depression, whatever symptoms are affecting your quality of life. Hospice is specifically for people who have stopped curative treatment and are focusing entirely on comfort in their final months. Both are valuable, both are underutilized, And both are introduced too late, because doctors are uncomfortable having these conversations. At 87, you should be asking about palliative care, regardless of what treatment you choose. If you're undergoing chemotherapy, palliative care can help manage the side effects. If you're dealing with chronic pain, palliative care specialists are often better at pain management than other doctors. If you're facing multiple health challenges, palliative care can help coordinate your care and ensure all your doctors are working together. Here's what I want you to understand. Choosing comfort doesn't mean choosing death. It means choosing quality. It means being honest about what your body can handle and what your spirit needs. At 87, you've earned the right to prioritize your own well-being over arbitrary medical goals. The healthcare system will pressure you toward intervention. Family members, terrified of losing you, might push for aggressive treatment. But you need to know that it's okay to say enough. It's okay to say you want to enjoy your remaining time, rather than spend it fighting a battle that might not be winnable. It's okay to choose dignity and comfort over a few extra months of suffering. Start these conversations now, today, before a crisis forces them. Talk to your doctor. Tell them what matters to you. Ask about all your options, including the option of less treatment or no treatment. Get a second opinion, especially from a geriatric specialist who understands the unique needs of older adults. Document your wishes legally. Tell your family what you want so they don't have to guess in a moment of crisis. You are not your disease. You are a whole person with values, preferences, and the right to self-determination. At 87, you deserve doctors who see you as a person first and a patient second. You deserve conversations about what's possible and what's probable, about quality and quantity, about living and dying with dignity. Margaret, the woman I mentioned earlier, eventually stopped chemotherapy. She spent her final 2 months in her garden, teaching her grandchildren about roses and tomatoes, sharing stories, feeling the sun on her face. She told me those were the best 2 months of her last year. I only wish someone had asked her what she wanted before she spent 3 months suffering through treatment she never truly wanted. Don't let that be your story. Take control now. Ask the hard questions. Demand honest answers. Make your wishes known. Your life, your body, your choice. Always. Subscribe to my channel to stay informed about health decisions that matter. Your future self will thank you.